Good day. We're reading the Ancient Egyptian Cosmology Vignette, author or Graur. So this is a paper talking about the ancient Egyptian cosmology vignette. First evidence of Milky Way and hold on, give me a second, Right. Of the sky goddess. So this is a paper that deals with ancient Egyptian cosmology. So I'm gonna get into it. I'm probably gonna read the first 5, 6 pages of it. Then I'm gonna go off there to most certainly do probably about 4 to 5 4 to 5 parts for this particular thing. This is something interesting that I think has never been seen before. A more detailed African perspective, from an African perspective, by an African author, but it doesn't seem, I couldn't seem to find it. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to keep looking to see if I could find something from a more African centered perspective. Right? I'm going to see if I could do that for sure. But at this point in time, and it will go from here to see what they're talking about and exactly where these things are located, right? So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. So we're certainly going to get into it in a moment, right? So kick back and enjoy your boy Solomonic TV. So let's get into it. Hope you guys are ready. Let's get into it. Let's start to read this paper. See how far we get. Before I get tired of talking. Right. So abstract. Give me 1 second. Let me get somewhere. Here I test the long held assumption of the ancient Egyptian sky goddess Nut represented the Milky Way by examining Nut's visual depiction of ancient Egyptian coffins. I assembled a catalog of 555 coffins. Elements, including 180 cosmological vignettes from the 21st to 22nd dynasty, report several observations. So what they're saying is these are the depictions from coffin texts. They're depictions from coffin texts, right? Not the coffin texts, but depictions from coffin texts, right? Right? So that is what we're talking about right now. Depictions from coffin text, but not the coffin text, right? So let's go ahead and get into that. 180 cosmological vignettes from 21st, 22nd century dynasties and report several observations. First, cosmological vignette on the outer coffin of Lesij Ud Jed Atiket bears a unique feature, a thick, undulating black curve that bisects Newt's clear-studded body and records the Great Rift that cleaves the Milky Way into two similar undulating curves bisect the astronomical ceiling in the tomb of Seti I that appears part of the depiction of Newt in the tombs of Ramses IV, 6th, and 10th. Moreover, the undulating curve resembles similar features identified as the Milky Way on the bodies of Navajo, Hopi, and Zuni spiritual beings. So what they're doing there is they're saying that in these other indigenous American cultures, they see figures that resemble exactly what we're talking about. So give me 1 second there. Let me just do a check to see how it's looking on the actual live so I can see if you guys can see it or not. So give me 1 second and I'll do that, right? Let me go back here. Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Move this out. I'm gonna go back here to StreamYard. I think I'm gonna make it a little bigger. So we make it a little bit bigger. Live. We're gonna see how big it is. All right, I want you guys to be able to read it all and understand what's happening, right? That's good enough, right? So let's go. Let's go, people. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Is up in the chat? Big up those who are watching. Let me know when you're coming, right? Yeah. Similar features identified. Navajo, Hopi, and Zuni spiritual beings. Hence, I argue that the undulating curve is a visual representation of the Milky Way and that it supports a previously suggested identification of Mer Naha, winding waterway, as the galaxy's Egyptian name. Moreover, the rarity of this feature strengthens the conclusion reached by Graur 2024a. The Newt and the Milky Way are linked, they are not synonymous. And the stars is associated with Newt in her role as the sky's second. Newt's body is decorated with stars in only a marked preference. No, no, in only a quarter of the cosmological vignettes, suggesting that the Egyptians of the 21st and 22nd dynasty may have had a marked preference for the day sky over the night sky. And finally, I discussed the integration between Newt's cosmology vignette and the full-length portrait inside Gothic from the New Kingdom of the Roman period in the context of Newt's combined cosmological and eschatological roles as embodiment of the coffin keywords Milky Way, Newt, cosmology, coffin. The astronomy and cosmogony of ancient Egypt have been active subjects of research since the inception of Egyptology. For a recent view, see Belmont and Love 2023. Several independent cosmologists developed in different parts of Egypt, Heliopolis, Menefer, the Terracopolis of Etna. For a detailed discussion, see Belmont and Love 2023 1 to 23. Give me another second again. Let me go back and I just want to check to see how it's looking on the actual live. Give me 1 second. Want to make sure everybody can see and hear what's happening, right? So give me 1 second there. Yeah, I want to make sure. Give me a second. So let me make sure. Yeah, let me make sure. Give me 1 second. Coming right back to you. Right back to you. Coming right back to you, people. I just want to see what it looks like and what it sounds like on the actual platform. Right. Right. Beautiful. Okay. Let's go. Cosmogony of ancient Egypt has been active subject of research since the inception of Egyptology. For a recent view, see Belmont and Lau 2023. So cosmogony means like how people view the creation of the universe and basically the world around it. Several independent cosmogonies developed in different parts of Egypt, Heliopolis, Memphis, Thebes, Acropolis, and Esna. For detailed discussion, see Belmont and Lau 2023. It is 1 through 22. Um, we can actually click onto these. Can we click onto these? It doesn't look like it. So at some point, we probably go over some of these sources, but these don't look clickable. In the Heliopolis model, the world is surrounded by an abyss of endless inert water. Out of this abyss, the god Atum created himself. He then created Chu and Tefnut, the god of the atmosphere and goddess of moisture. Both siblings and lovers, Shu and Tefnut, gave birth to Gebenut, earth and sky. In turn, Geb and Nut gave birth to the brothers Asar and Seth, and the sisters Isis and Nebuchadnezzar. Together, these nine gods referred to as the Presagent through different cosmogonies and deities came and went out of fashion throughout Egyptian history. The gods of the Presagent remain important figures in Egyptian spirituality and cosmogony. Various Egyptian nature either are either associated with, symbolized, or directly embody certain celestial objects. The sun, most famously, is personified as several major gods. The scarab-headed Khepri is thought to personify the rising sun. The falcon-headed Ra is the midday sun, and a tomb head of the Pacific is a setting sun. Right. Allen, 1988, page 10. Similarly, the moon is associated with the god Kansu, while Sirius is associated with the Neteret Sapdet, also known, I guess, as Greek as Sophis, and some stars within the constellation Orion are linked to the Netresas. Several attempts have been made to link Newt, here's the glyphs here, with the Milky Way. Davis, 1985, Graur, 2024, Kozlov, 1992, 1994, Wells, 1992. For discussion on these works, see Graur, 2024. The latest such attempt, Graur image, show the textual depiction of Newt's arm and the fundamentals of the course of the star. The original name of the book, known popularly as the Book of Newt, for an in-depth translation and discussion of the fundamental. C. Von Lieber, 2000, Milky Way's appearance in the Egypt, kemetic night sky during the winter months. Graur, 2024, also noted that Newt's role in the transition of the deceased to the afterlife, as described in spells from the pyramid text and coffin text, and her link to the annual bird migration, as described in the fundamentals, were similar to roles attributed to the Milky Way by other cultures for comparison studies of the Milky Way among different cultures. C.E.G. Barazin, 2010, Graur, 2024, Croft, 1991, 1995, Lagu, 1996. The main point made by Graur, as opposed to previous works, was that while Newt and the Milky Way may have been linked, they were not synonymous with each other. Instead, Graur suggested that the Milky Way served as a figurative marker of Newt's existence as the sky, highlighting her arms during the winter months and her torso or backbone during the summer. In this paper, I study Newt's cosmological vignette as it appears on ancient Kemetic Nebang, identify the first visual depiction of the Milky Way. A similar effect, studying these depictions in funerary papyri is ongoing and will be the subject of a future paper. Depictions of Newt on ancient Egyptian coffins. Newt's depiction on ancient Egyptian coffins stem from the myriad roles played by this goddess in the transition of the deceased to the afterlife. For a review, see Hollis 2019. Several spells from the pyramid text carved on the walls of the burial tombs and the pyramids of old of the Old Kingdom and the coffin text found on Middle Kingdom coffins call on Nut to shield the deceased with her arms, reassemble their bones, nourish them, and give birth to them once more, and guide them to the sky. Graur 2024 argued that the later role, which is expressed as Nut reaching her arms out to the deceased or acting as a ladder, helps to link Nut to the Milky Way. Here I focus on Nut's protection of the deceased and her identification with the coffin. These roles are attested at least as early as the Old Kingdom. And several spells from the pyramid text, figure or Ibid and Hollis 2000. Perhaps the most relevant of these spells is 364 Faulkner 1969 119. Translated the relevant part of the spell as you have been given to your mother Nut in her name of sarcophagus. She has assembled you in her name of coffin, and you have been brought to her in her name of tomb. In his more modern translation, Allen translated the same section as "You've been given to your mother Nut and her identity of the entombment. She has collected you in her identity of the tomb chamber, and you have been elevated to her in her identity of the tomb's superstructure. The identification of Nut with the coffin, sarcophagus, and tomb is seen in her frequent, varied depictions on coffins from the New Kingdom down to the Roman period. Her four frequent visual depictions are. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second there, people. 1 second. I need to go back to see something. I want to make sure people can hear me. Let me go back again one last time just to make sure people can hear me because I don't want to be talking and nobody can hear me. So let me check one more time. Right. I'm sounding good. I'm sounding good. So let's continue. This is how long I've been. I've been on for 17 minutes. I don't want to bore you guys too much. So I'm going to go a little bit longer. Then I'm going to get out of here. Did I get it? All right. Right. The identification of Nut with the coffin, sarcophagus, and tomb is seen in her frequent and varied depictions on coffins from the New Kingdom down to the Roman period. Her four most frequent visual depictions are as the goddess of the sky. Nut played several roles in ancient Egyptian astronomy and cosmology. First, as the sky, she protected the earth from being inundated by the encroaching waters of the void. Second, as described in the fundamentals, Nut was an integral part of the daily solar cycle. As the sun set in the west, it was swallowed by Nut. It then traveled through Nut's body, which is at least for a time was synonymous with the netherworld or duat. So this is the word for duat here, where it was rejuvenated in an encounter with Asar. Nut then gave birth to the sun as it rose in the east. In a variation of this role, Nut also gave birth to and swallowed the Deacon star, certain stars, and asterisms thought to have been used as star clock during the night. See Belmont and all 2023 during the night. See Belmont and all 2023, 123 to 132 as they rose and set throughout the night. Newt's cosmological role gained a visual depiction in the cosmological vignette in which she is shown as a naked archwoman, sometimes covered with stars. See figure 1A and B. She is usually held aloof by her father's shoe, while her brother Geb lies beneath her. Newt's arch posture is seen as invoke identity with the sky as protection of the earth below. Nowitzki 2011, blah, 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 blah. Newt's role in the daily solar cycle is also prominent in these vignettes. She is either short swallowing These vignettes, she's either shown swallowing and giving birth to the sun, or carrying the solar bark on her back, e.g., Figure 1CE. Geb is usually colored green or shown covered by green reeds, stretch, stretching his, strengthening his role as the earth in particular cases, e.g., Figure 1F. She was replaced either by a headless mummy or by different deity, e.g., the ram headed. Give me 1 second. So let's see if we can go through some of these. Let's see if we can go through some of these. Let me go up super close. See if we can go through some of these. Right. We see her stretched out here. Right. We're saying this is Geb. Right. Got some ram-headed deities here. Got some Medu Nacha here. Right. Which I'm not going to attempt to read at this point in time. So here what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show you the different vignettes, what they're talking about. And then maybe next time I come back, we'll make an attempt to read some of this Medu Nacha. But, okay. Examples of Newt's cosmological vignette. A. Typical example featuring a naked newt supported by shoe and arched over green colored gap, courtesy Weather. A typical example in which the newt is covered in stars. See newt swallowing and giving birth to the winged sun disk. The newt carrying the sun in the solar bar. E. Newt wearing a spotted rug. F. Newt supported by Ra instead of shoe. Right. And we got G, an example of a black colored newt. And an example of a, all right, okay. Ra, the god of magic, or Heka, or the dwarf god Bes. Now, I don't like this word magic or Heka. We'll say Hekau, or the Twa god Bes. Newt is usually not colored in, except for rare instances where she's either colored white or completely black. See Figure 1GH. In one particular instance, Newt head is replaced with that of a serpent. Nowitzki, 1995, Figure 1. So right here is where I think I'm going to stop because I reached 4 pages. So, ladies and gentlemen, or whoever's watching, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. So have a blessed and wonderful day. We're going to end the stream right here.